Actually, we invited John Palmer a couple of years ago to do some judging.
That's a name I've not heard in a long time.
Yeah, we were talking about him. How he's so known within the homebrewers. I mean, everybody has read something about him, something that he's written.
I mean, we have a lot of brewers in Arizona who never homebrewed.
Yeah.
Like, boom, they're just working in the brewery. This is a job. And then they get to love it, and then, they get more appreciation and learning. But they just started out because they needed a job. So here we are. Yeah. Oh, work on a canning line? Sounds cool. No, it's not.
Arizona is a wildly beautiful place, brimming with over 100 brewing companies. I'm Rob Fulmer, the Executive Director of the Arizona Craft Brewers Guild. I'm joined by Deputy Director Andrew Bauman. Together we cover the state, bringing you the best of what's happening at our breweries and beyond. Welcome to Arizona Beer Frontier.
Okay.
So, did you guys end up driving here from Hermosillo, or did you fly?
Yeah.
How far a drive is it?
It's like a 6-hour drive.
6 hours.
Yeah, so it's...
This is the story of Phoenix. Everything's 6 hours. 6 hours to San Diego, 6 hours to LA, 6 hours to Hermosillo.
6 hours to Edge of the World Brewing in Colorado City.
Yeah, in our own state. You have to.
I heard that one. I heard that podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to go. Yeah.
Oh, wow, thanks.
Yeah, it's you're a listener. I'm very flattered. Very flattered that you tune into the show. We are here today with. Do we call you Are you the founder, the owner, the spokesmodel of Buqui Bichi?
Yeah. Let's say partner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Founder, for sure.
Yeah.
He's a founder.
Okay.
Yeah, you can have many founders.
What's on your card? What does it say in your card?
Director. Because now I'm like running things and stuff. So I'm like the CEO. If you buy, I just think of CEO like such a big word.
Yeah, I understand.
But I mean, like managing partner, I would say I am, as well as as a co-founder.
Sure. Okay. So it's Luis Osuna.
Yes.
From Hermosillo, from Buqui Bichi, the CEO, Chief Executive Officer. He doesn't like the title. Doesn't feel comfortable in his own skin. He's got partners. Who are your partners?
Partners. Well, my the project was started with my brother. Mm-hmm. He was the guy that got. He was the one that got me into like home brewing. He's been living in Colorado for a long time now.
Yeah.
So he just got involved with all the scene there. I mean, so big that you're not. I mean, you have to consciously get away from it, not to be like pulled into it.
Sure.
So he started homebrewing, and then he told me, "Hey, you should get a kit." So I did that and bought a small kit in Tucson. Brought it back home and did a couple of batches, which I now, in retrospect, think it must have been awful.
But they were perfect to get you in.
Yeah, but all the positive feedback, which, I mean, they were all non-craft drinkers, so they didn't know what was a good beer and all that. But it was just, they were just so amazed of the fact that someone can do beer at their house. That was a very, very new thing there. So, so we got.
When was this? What year approximately?
2013.
2013.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's when we did our first batch. Never intended to make it a business. It was just a hobby list like any home brewer. But then with that positive feedback that we got, and then we just started like looking around, and there was some stuff going on in Baja, some stuff going on in Guadalajara. So then we figured we should look into this, but we knew nothing about brewing or anything. So we started doing all the research, reading, attending craft brewers conferences. There was an event. There's a current event that goes in Mexico City every year. We went there, read a lot, and just came up with a fictional novel, which is a business plan, right? So just trying to put in, but it's a real helpful tool. Because you get to order your ideas because you're always like thinking, hey, we should do this and that and that, and the business plan really helps you out to just like writing things down in an orderly fashion. So that's how we got started, and then when we started like looking for money. It ended up being 5 other guys, me and my brother, and 5 other guys, which are basically, most of them are my childhood friends.
Still to this day, 10 years later, huh?
Yeah.
After all this
After
business.
all this business, yeah. They're still my friends, yeah.
That's remarkable.
That's nice.
Yeah, so we've been at it now. So we officially opened in 2016. But that was
in Hermosillo.
In Hermosillo,
and I talked to Damien, one of your brewers. He said you started on a 3-barrel system.
Yeah, it's a 3-barrel with
one
7,
location and
with one location, taproom attached to it, and we always conceived ourselves as being like a packaging brewery. So after a year of operating, we just like started running out of beer. So we were bottling very little beer. Most of the beer we were doing, we were brewing. We would just sell it at the tap room. So we ended up like growing the business and having a new facility now with the bigger, larger system. And that's been up and running since 2019.
So this is the 15 barrel?
15 barrel, and we have
30s and 60s?
30s and 60s, yeah.
Nice. So how many barrels do you produce roughly a year?
Right now, I think for this year, we're probably going to be closing at around 3,000.
3,000, okay.
Yeah.
So first of all, we don't know a lot about what's going on in Mexico in terms of craft beer. I'll be straight up honest. And we don't. I think people have an appreciation of the different. There's not just one unified idea of Mexico. There's so many different subcultures and influences, global influences. Like Mexico City is probably one of the most international cities in the world.
Yeah.
But where do you guys rank in terms of the craft beer movement in Mexico? Are you in the struggling middle? Are you leading the pack? Give us a sense of what your place is in that country.
Yeah, I wouldn't say we're leading the pack, but we're close to that top level. Let's say both in terms of size and in terms of quality of the beer and the acceptance of it. The craft beer scene in Mexico in general, it's very small. I mean, you look into the data here of what craft beer represents as a percentage of the entire beer sales. We are, I think the last number is like 0.2 or 0.3% of the entire beer market. It's for craft. So it's very, very, very small. And beer in general, it's big in Mexico. I mean, we're right now, Mexico is the biggest producer of beer, period. But mostly it's like just to service. I mean, like Constellation does all of their beers brewed in Mexico, so they're pouring. So that comes up with the big numbers. Craft beer is very expensive in general terms in Mexico. It's always going to be more expensive than the mainstream brands, but taxes are too high there. And they're based on the value of, not in volume, but on the value of the beer. So if you're making a smaller batches, and higher quality products, then you end up with the higher cost, which represent a higher price. So then you'll get taxed a percentage, 26.5% out of that. That's our excise tax there. So the better beer you want to make, the more taxes that you have to pay. So that limits a lot the market that you're aiming for, right? So people are going to pay sometimes 2 to 3 times more than a regular beer. So that makes it very difficult. And then all this market, this small market, is segmented throughout the entire country. So if you want to sell out of volume, you need to sell throughout the entire country. And Mexico is big.
Yeah.
And us in Sonora, being in the middle of Sonora where Hermosillo is at, we don't have anything close. I mean, everything like the closest middle-sized city would be Tucson for us, and the closest large city would be Phoenix for us. So, so it's tough. Logistics are expensive. Not good. It's a challenge. It's been a challenge.
Yeah. So this is the premise you came to us in 2016 or 17 or 18, somewhere in there, about how you wanted to be a part of what we do here in some fashion, and it makes sense. Like I just was talking to Ayla Kapahi about their Las Hermanas brew they want to do in Guadalajara, and I didn't realize how long it takes to get from Mexico City to Guadalajara, from Monterrey to Guadalajara.
Yeah.
Like you said, 20 hours?
Yeah, 20 hours from Hermosillo. It would be like a 16 to 20 hour drive from Hermosillo.
Right. So that's like us driving to Chicago. So
yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah.
So it's quite far.
You can drive really fast in Illinois. A certain part of it. Yeah. Seriously. I used to make that drive.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're sort of bearing the lead here. The lead story is you guys, Buqui Bichi, have a tap room in Chandler.
Grand opening.
With a restaurant with delicious food. Beer is excellent, 15 or 16 different taps, some classic styles, some hype styles. And you're close to 3 other breweries in Chandler there, and a couple of well-known tap rooms. Seems like a good addition to Chandler. I used to live I used to live close enough to walk there.
Okay.
And of course I moved before everything got cool. I moved somewhere else. But and you have another tap room in Phoenix potentially opening soon.
Yeah, something that came up really as an opportunity that we never plan was the fact that third-party groups or guys or whatever, they approach us with the idea to try to replicate a tap room.
Yeah.
And at the very beginning, we were like, no, we're a packaging brewery. We already have a tap room. We don't need one. But the match between the beer and the food made it all that attractive. Then an atmosphere that's different because it's very based on what a U.S. tap room would be. So that was new there, like having all this, having a blackboard with beers, being able to watch the brewery itself, the fermenters and all that, all these table games, stuff like that, which make the experience so unique. To be able to fill your growlers, so that wasn't something that people were used to. So we started, and then all these people were coming up and saying, "Wait, we should do another one," and we were like, "Okay, we finally got convinced of it, and then another opportunity came about, and for us as a brewery, well, those are immediately they become your most important, best customers, right? So, and that's the best way to get your brand across, and yeah, so now this Chandler location, it's our 6th tap room.
Wow.
Yeah, we have 4 in Hermosillo, another one in Culiacan, Sinaloa. That's another 8-hour drive going south. That would be like the closest mid-sized city we have to Hermosillo. So we opened up one last year. It's been open for a little over a year, and now, I guess, and finally getting to your question is we opened this Chandler location, and then a couple of months ago, an opportunity came about this place that was like really set up, kitchen, bar, permits, and all that, and some of investors here decided to, and I mean they run it. We all decided to take on that opportunity. So we're working on that, and we're hoping, I don't know, maybe, I mean, before the end of the year, they should be up and running. We'll let you know.
Cool. Yeah, I think if I recall, it's like the it used to be a restaurant called the Matador, or I think that's where it was. Yeah. So yeah, I remember that place. Sounds like it's going to be a good deal. But now you have 2 locations that are 6 hours away.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing you're probably going to go somewhere in the first year between an extra 1,000 to 1,500, maybe 2,000 barrels of beer.
Yeah.
Where is that all going to come from?
We still do have some capacity.
Yeah.
So we're set up to do that. We wouldn't do it any other way. And then we would always be able to prioritize where we sell our beer. So right now we're sending beer to Cancun, which we hated because it's
it's Las Vegas.
It's 5 hours away. I mean, it's 4 days, 5 days away if you like ship it on a freight company. It takes forever to get there, and but we're making the beer. We need to sell the most beer as possible. So we're shipping beer to any place. So we would eventually, we think we would prioritize our tap rooms first and foremost, and try to focus more regionally and still focus on the quality of the beer, because that's what's that's what we are all about. I mean, but that's going a little bit back when we started doing our research and stuff. We really got into it and loved the way the beer community actually works here in the States in general. I remember the 99%
asshole
free. I remember that so vividly.
It's not true, you know.
Well, there was this guy. There was this guy in Mexico that used to have a brewery, and we nicknamed him the 1%. He was definitely in that percentage side. So that's really what we're trying to replicate there, because I think that's something that's worth sharing.
Yeah.
Not just the beer, but all the entire experience of really learning. As I mentioned, we are very big beer drinkers there, and we've made like our the Mexican brands are now we're the leader. I mean, a Mexican brand is the leader in the U.S. Go figure.
Yeah.
Not owned by Mexicans anymore, but still, it's a Mexican brand, right? So it's funny that people don't even have a clue how beer it's done.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy that drinks wine, they'll go to Napa, they'll go to Valle de Guadalupe, they'll learn some stuff about it. People been drinking beer for their entire lives and don't have a clue how it's done. When I was started, do you have a machine to homebrew? I'm like, no, it's just a bucket.
A pot?
Yeah. I mean,
a bucket?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's been around for a long time before mechanization.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you bring up an interesting point, because like I'm always baffled by what people choose to ignore. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, it took until 15 years after ABI bought everything up. Budweiser is a Belgian-owned, nominally Brazilian-run company with most of its assets not here in the United States. Yeah. And it just took till this year for people to boycott it for a completely other dumb reason. Like it's not American to drink that brand now, even though they pretended for many years it was. Mexico is often the politicians choose to beat up for all kinds of reasons, but you got somebody like Ted Cruz drinking Coronas, and or choosing another ABI brand because he doesn't want to drink the non-American ABI brand. It's stunning. And in the meantime, you guys are this tiny little part of the industry, just cranking out really excellent beers. The tax situation sounds incredibly terrible. I'm sure your supply chains are much more under duress than we have here in the States. You probably pay higher for that. It sounds like there are opportunities though for people. It sounds like there are people who are trained, probably more so than in the United States in brewing.
Yeah.
So this is a long way of saying, well, why don't you put a brewery here in Arizona?
Yeah.
Save some of those logistic issues.
Yeah, that would be.
You're only gonna make 162 barrels, and then you qualify.
And then you're all in.
Yeah,
that would be. Yeah, that
He's like, great, open a brewery too. Great idea.
That has cost. Every time we're shipping beer and you have to go through the customs and pay for all this fees and pay for. Yeah, it would make it much easier for us to do it. We do believe that it'll be very, very tough to keep up with the same consistency, quality, and all that.
Sure.
Running, not being a U.S. and a Mexico-based brewery, just running two separate locations. I mean,
sure.
Like production facilities. I mean, that would be like very, very challenging. But something that you need to grow into if the opportunity comes about. But yeah.
Well,
when you have 4 more tap rooms opening in Phoenix Metro and Tucson and Flag, you're gonna want to start thinking about it, huh?
Yeah. Well, here's the good news. We have really great laws. You don't have to do it all on your own. We have something called alternating proprietorship. You can split the cost of the hot side. You have your own cold side. You have your own tax determination area. You can share some employees, and you can help a couple other breweries grow together too. So that was something that hadn't happened. Also, if you really want to make things really complicated, you can open a distillery at a winery
and make mead.
And make all kinds of stuff. But let's take a quick break. I do want to talk about your festival and some of the participants from Arizona that take part in it, and the change in date and our personal commitment to it.
Welcome back.
We didn't do our thing,
hey, Rob.
brother. Andrew Bauman.
Good to see you, friend. So, Luis, now that we're back from our extended break, tell us a little more about your festival and maybe some of the collabs from Arizona breweries, because I know that you've done stuff with 1912. Walter Station always talks about the great times they have with you. Yeah, Dragoon. You tell me. I don't need to say it.
Yeah, so we have a festival. We've been doing it for 3 years, and it's also a beer cup at the same time, right? So we get beers from Mexico in general. I mean, most so from the state of Sonora, but we're getting beers from the Baja and
awesome.
And
what are some of those breweries? Just, I mean, you don't have to name them all, but like
some of the breweries in
Mexico.
Oh, some of the breweries. Well, some. I would say the Baja scene. It's because there's wine country there, so I think then they're just a few blocks away from San Diego, so big beer scene there. So I always thought that it just came very natural for them to start brewing. So I don't know. Tijuana has Insurgentes, Ensenada, which is a very touristy wine country place. It's they have breweries like Aguamala and Wendland that have been going at it for a long time. In Guadalajara, it's just getting stronger now. There's a recently opened brewery, maybe running for 2 years, called Cielito Lindo, which I think is where Las Hermanas is gonna be brewed in the next few weeks. Fortuna, Loba. Those are some of the bigger names, craft breweries there. Great. We don't get a lot of them because it's because Hermosillo is such a small market. I mean, for the festival, Hermosillo is such a small market, and it takes forever to get there, so it's very expensive for a lot of these breweries to go there.
How large a city is Hermosillo?
Depends on who you talk to, but I've been hearing that it has like 1 million in population, maybe a little less, maybe a little more. You never know.
Like around Tucson size?
Yeah, I think it's comparable to Tucson. Our festival is going to be this year. It's going to be on March the 2nd, Saturday, March the 2nd. Last year we had, for the last 2 years, we've had Tucson breweries coming down. Well, 2 years ago we had some Phoenix breweries as well going. We just got their beer and we took it there and we just set up a booth, like an Arizona booth, and poured some of that beer. And people really liked it, and for us, it's very common for people from Hermosillo and all these places. We do a lot of the shopping in either Tucson or Phoenix, and shopping are mostly for the wives, so we get bored a lot. So the best way to get rid of that boredom is just like go taproom hopping for a while and let her and now you just hear the bank telling you what was bought and what was charged or whatever. But you'll get through it better with a good beer in your hand. Yeah.
So I think it was Walter Station. They came to your festival.
Yeah, they came a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And those guys, they actually went there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We see a lot that the people here in Phoenix are very familiar with Rocky Point.
Yeah.
They're even more so familiar than us because it's a 6-hour drive from Hermosillo to Rocky Point, so we don't go there that often. And we have San Carlos and Kino, which are like the closest beaches, so it's sometimes not worthwhile the extra driving, right?
Sure.
But yeah, so Walter Station, we've met them at one festival in Rocky Point, and they went there a couple of years ago. Last year, we did a collab with Dragoon, which was amazing, was awesome. I mean, we've always looked at Dragoon as a benchmark for us. Like, what are these guys doing? How come their IPA is everywhere? All these questions that.
Right.
So we finally got to meet them and made a beer. We made it in Hermosillo. We named it the Tucson beer, La Tucson beer or La Tucson IPA, which came out great beer, and we were able to. There's something going on this year where diplomatic relationship between Mexico and the U.S. And now they're celebrating their 200th years of existing. Mm-hmm. So we put that celebration within the logo, and then the U.S. consul in Hermosillo tried it, have it, presented it, and it was fun. And we poured that beer during the festival, and we did a second batch, and when we opened our doors here in Chandler, we had that beer when we poured it for a week or so.
I know it's because I drank so much of it. That's why you ran out.
Yeah. So we're still waiting on a date to do the home and home collab. So
sure.
we'll do something with them in the next few months, I guess. Probably it's something coming up before the festival.
I know Desert Monk has been down to your place for the festival too.
Well, two of the guys are from Hermosillo, so they're familiar. So they went there a couple of years ago. Last year we did something with the Visit Tucson office. So they help us. They help us a lot with gathering breweries from Tucson, whatever. But now we're in Phoenix, so we're obligated to
do something.
Make sure that we have some of the Phoenix beers there. And also, we would love to. We run during the festival. We run a beer cup, and we would love to have, I don't know, 1 or 2 beer judges making the trip down there and helping us out. A bunch of our brewers, the guys that you met, the Damien that you met before, and Germanta, they're now certified judges. But we always bringing in more experienced judges just to make it like a very formal, and it's all fairly good. I mean, we've gone through cups the entire time. We've sent beers to World Beer Cup. Still waiting on to hear the results of that. But in Mexico, we have several cups, and we're always pay attention to the reviews that you're getting, because I mean, at the end, the customer's opinion is the most important, right? But still, you want the opinion of your peers telling you, because your customer might not be as educated as a judge might be. So you just want that feedback in order to find out what you're doing good and learn where your areas of opportunity are to improve on your peers. So we've done so we're true believers on that feedback that you get from that, and also the feeling you get when you get that one first medal or second medal, and just a great rush. There's a big Mexico Cup that's going on. That goes on every October. That's in Mexico City. It's called Cerveza Mexico. It's a festival, and it's also like an expo where there's suppliers and equipment and all that. They do it all together, and they do a cup as well. And in 2019, it's just like a sampling competition, and we were named. We did so well in medals that they count them all, and we were named the best medium-sized brewery in Mexico. That was 2019. And then last year, 2022, we were bigger now, so we were competing with the big guys.
With Modelo?
So no, not exactly. But so we did got the award as the best big size brewery in Mexico. So we've been bragging about that for the last year.
Good, you deserve it.
Yeah.
So you've worked now both sides of the border here, and mostly producing and bringing beer here, but you've also talked to people who have brought it the other way, from Arizona or other parts of the United States to Mexico. What are the hurdles involved in merely crossing the border? And I'm sure they're different each way, right?
Yeah. It's going back and forth. It's not that tough. I mean, NAFTA has been going on for like ever, and beer itself, it's not something that you would put like extra taxes or extra and like non-tariff things that will just add up to the cost. I think in general, it's mostly about volume. If you're getting a full size truck full with beer, you'll just pay the one driver and the one diesel and the one and going through customs. Most of the fees are just like one. Not depending they don't depend on the value of the merchandise that you're crossing, but it depends on just like a constant fees, whether it's just one keg or a truck full of it. So that's probably one of the issues when you're crossing lower volumes. It gets more expensive, and
so you have to plan. And the larger shipment you can make, the more economical.
Yeah, so that's why for us, like this second location and then probably hooking up with the distributor makes a lot of sense, because we're coming anyway. So if we're coming in a bigger truck and we're coming here more often or whatever, I mean, we try to reduce the cost on that. Another great thing that we've done now, we're doing temporary imports on kegs. So we're able to ship our kegs here, and then on their way back, we don't pay any import taxes on that at all.
Are you using MicroStar?
No, we use our own.
Okay.
We use our own, yeah.
Are you familiar, or this is just random, and with Malt Europe, the Maltster?
Yeah.
I have to talk to our rep, But I had heard that they were going to put a depot in Hermosillo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, as part of their rail route. I'll have to run that down because it is a more expensive malt for a lot of us to use. But if they do that, supposedly the price is going to come down for a lot of folks. But if you don't know anything about it, I'll look into it.
I wasn't familiar with that, with any of that. And then getting beer to Mexico, there the challenge is the taxation. Once you when you're getting it through the borders, you're going to get taxed 26.5 just for the excise tax, and then a sales tax will also be applied right there. It's at 16%. So you'll add 46, 42, whatever.
And that's what you pay on every keg that you sell in Mexico too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
50% on top
tax.
of wow.
That seems like one of the legislative challenges for sure. Is there any talk about trying to?
Yeah, and that's been an issue. I mean, even before Buqui Bichi even started, the brewers have been talking about that and trying, and we all do strategies like do the lobbying, trying to get to your state senator or congressman and stuff. They've been trying to do that. They've been trying also to do it with the wine industry.
Yeah.
Wine industry is really, really messed up because they have it the worst because they have all these treaties with the different countries.
Sure.
So there's like a quota of imports that don't pay any tax. So while the local wineries are paying 26.5 as well, like for tax. There's a quota, let's say, from Chilean wine or from Spanish wine that won't pay any taxes. So it's fun.
Wine.
You're getting wines from the other side of the world at a cheaper cost. And they're like, why is Mexican wine so expensive?
Well, this is the argument we had about lowering the tax rate on RTDs. Is they're not going to be produced here in the United States. They're not going to be produced in our state. They're going to be under that same trade scenario. Like we're going to bring in bulk alcohol from somewhere else. But this is completely counterintuitive because it's been a long time since I was in Mexico and bought like a Corona or whatever. Probably 20. I think the last time I was in. No, we crossed the border. But I don't remember going like, oh my God, the price of beer is. It's got to be this tax, like because the impression, and it's probably true, is like you go down to Mexico to drink inexpensive beer, right?
Oh, yeah.
So is it just merely that the sheer volume that Modelo is putting out overcomes this tax issue?
Yeah, because they would. If it was tax based on volume, they would end up paying pretty much the same.
Yeah.
I mean, if it wasn't working for them, they would have changed it already.
Right.
Yeah.
So there has to. So in the United States, we did the first tax reform federally in since the 70s, right? A couple years ago. KBOOMTRA, the Craft Beverage Modernization Tax Reform Act. It finally went permanent, but there's different schedules for depending on how large you are. So the larger breweries do pay more, but their taxes went down under this agreement. So everybody was happy with that.
Yeah.
And we got our piece lowered, but who would be opposing this tax cut in Mexico? Would the big breweries be like, you're on your own, or is there any kind of cooperation with the bigger breweries?
Yeah, I think they're happy with how it is right now, so they're really not pushing it. Actually, the proposal is just to try to get tax based on volume, like it is in most of the world.
Yeah.
The quota that's established to tax that way would end up for the commercial breweries them paying about the same that they pay right now.
Yeah.
But it will be a big break for craft brewers, which are now the only local Mexican. There aren't any Mexican breweries anymore, large ones. But it hasn't gone through. And then if it says we're going to pay less taxes, government will usually just shut that down immediately. I mean, even if it would have like a long-term effect, but
the argument is if you grow the base, then you have more people paying taxes, and it evens out. That's potentially the argument. But I know that's a challenge. I mean, the other thing that that we hear is that there's no barrier. There's the way that breweries operate in Mexico, the larger breweries, they're able to influence their retailers, their restaurants or bars by paying for maybe even directly, or the tied house laws that we had in the United States. The breweries have too much influence. The big breweries have too much influence on what products are available, and you know, we have people in the United States go, oh, we should get rid of the 3-tier system. Well, there's inherent protections in it. But that is the case, right? I mean, like if I'm Corona, I go, hey, don't put anything else on, just put our stuff on. I'll buy a bunch of umbrellas. That's why there's so much branded merch that you see. When you go to Mexico, everybody just gets branded tables, tablecloths, umbrellas, glassware. I mean, what else?
Yeah, and most of the places you go down there, they're either going to be like AB InBev, or they're going to be Heineken. That's normally the way it's done. It used to be much worse. I mean, we haven't had many issues with that since we are operating. I mean, we're not able to go into different like retail stores and stuff like that, because they do have like an exclusive use of one brand or the other. Sometimes sporting events and stuff like that you're not able to get in. It has changed a lot, and I think when they were on both Mexican run, it was just like a constant fight among them. So it was either one, and you would get a lot of help or a lot of I don't know, the
kickbacks.
Yeah, that would be.
They'll help you to play.
They'll help you paying for the license, and a lot of the places the license is owned by one of these companies. So So who are you gonna listen to? The guy that did that for you, or the small guy that's just trying to sell a more expensive, lower circulation, lower turnaround product? So it's been tough, but it's changed since, because most of these practices are illegal in most of the world. So now that there are these global companies now going in and owning and operating, they're like, why would you give this restaurant some money just for them to sell beer?
Right.
Exclusivity, what's that?
Yeah.
That's not even in the dictionary here. But it's there. It's still stuff. But then something that's been going on with that, especially with big like sporting events, stuff like that.
Yeah, we have that.
since the big companies are so global now.
Yeah.
They don't put as much attention, and sometimes they don't even care about the local event that's going on.
Yeah.
So that has opened up some opportunities for us where they don't mind. They used to be like big sponsors of teams and stuff like that. They still are, but it's on its way down because of this global way of doing business, which is fine for us, but it's opening up opportunities for us.
Do retailers have a lot of consumer pull? More consumers asking for craft than they used to, or do you think it's still pretty niche?
I think it's pretty niche. Yeah, we do have some specialty. Well, especially in Sonora, like carne asada, it's a big thing, right? So we have some boutique meat places that have like good wine selection, good beer selection, and some of those places come with the niche that we're aiming for. So that makes a lot of sense. Just like the general retail convenience store, they don't sell craft, and most of them are owned or used to own. Most of them, like the bigger chain in Mexico, is owned by the same company they used to run Tecate, and so they used to own, right? So it was exclusivity the entire time. Now they're changing, and then they have their two types of beer. So even though it's really a competitive space in refrigeration within that. So it's very tough. It's very tough. But it's changing.
Yeah.
So that's opening up opportunities for us.
So switching gears a little bit. If someone was to come to Hermosillo, to your brewery location, what can they expect? Is there food there? Is it just tap room? Do you have tours of the brewery? I mean, what's that experience like?
Yeah, for the bigger brewery, we do some tours. We do not have a tap room. I mean, we have 4 tap rooms already. So that was something.
So the brewery is separate.
Yeah, the bigger brewery. We do have a setup there for a bar, and we've done some events there, like private events, if you want to lease it or rent or whatever. We can do that, and we do once the weather improves, which we're getting close to that. We'll run brewery tours like every Saturday afternoon and stuff like that. So for people to go there, and we'll pour beer and we'll do that. And
then, so the tap rooms though, are they just tap rooms? Or are they restaurants or?
The tap rooms, no, they're restaurants. I mean, they do have a kitchen, and
Is the food selection similar to the one here, or is this one a little different?
No, it's very similar. We're trying to duplicate this thing. We are, as we're learning and stuff like that, we're learning what people really like here and really want and really what they expect. Mexican brewery, they have food. Well, of course, the Mexican style of food would be like the one that raises their attention more. So we'll probably do something different in that direction here, more so than back there.
I love the menu, yeah.
It's definitely not a typical Mexican restaurant fare that people probably expect. It is, I mean, I like it. It's got a lot of different, and it's a little more seafood centric than most people would expect.
Yeah.
But it's all very well done. And so it's like you've made a choice to sort of say, we are Mexican, going to serve Mexican food, cuisine, culture, but like it's more in step with the town you're from. Yeah.
Yeah, and also at the end of the day, it's a food menu that's made for beer. So you'll get a bunch of spicy stuff, some so hot, some not so hot. We probably dosed a little bit on the hot side, but it's food that goes very, very well with beer.
This is something I've heard now talking to Ayla and listening to some of the stuff that she's talked about on other podcasts, that definitely Mexican breweries have really decided that food is really important to the beers they just decide to design or put out.
Because you need the food, and Mexicans were so much sessionable guys than people here in the States. There are very little 1 to 2 beer visits to any tap room. Usually take longer and I'll drink more beer. So they'll need food. They want to stay there. They'll need food to stay.
Larger groups.
Stay longer. Larger groups. Later at night. I'm sorry. People normally, we stop working, like offices, stuff like that, stop working around 6, 7 p.m. So if you want to go out and grab a beer, you'll get there at 8 o'clock, and you'll stay there until 11 on a weekday.
It definitely is a country where people eat later together, out of the house.
Yeah,
for sure. What do you? Well, I'll ask the question that every brewery in America wants to know. What category do you enter Mexican lager?
Or Oktoberfest?
Because it doesn't have a style, right?
Like the Mexican lager?
Yeah.
So GABF doesn't have a style.
I mean, for us, and I got this question asked recently here, it's like, what's your take on like Mexican lagers? And well, we don't have those in Mexico, so I really don't have much of an option. I mean, I think it's just based on the lime that was placed on all the Corona advertising, and I think they just like started
Now that's required.
adding some to it. For us, I mean, I would say that a Mexican lager would be based on like the good Modelo, the good Tecate, the good Bohemia. I don't think you get much Bohemia here, but those would be like the, which are at the end very maybe now a little more so U.S. lager style, but they all come. I mean, but all of the entire beer industry in Mexico comes from Germany. We're German families, German entrepreneurs that got all this started.
Sure. So it's Vienna lager, which they don't make in Vienna, by the way. You guys have a Vienna lager. Is that your flagship, or is it?
No. It's not. It's not even on our regular scheduled beers. Yeah. Like our flagship would be like our Kolsch. If you want to go on something that has happened that was like our top seller, because most of our customers were in and they're like, I don't like craft beer. I just
want a regular
to try
beer.
Give me the closest thing you have to a regular beer, and we had our Kolsch. Well, what we've seen throughout the years is that people have got started off with Kolsch and really liked it, and then they're like, I'll try an amber ale, I'll try an IPA, and when you go up to those beers and you like them, you never look back, right? So we've done that. So we made that transition. Now our IPA is our top seller. Yeah. And a very close, then they're Kolsch, and then very third, it's our hazy IPA. So that's that's
cool.
That's that we've seen, like, well, for our customers, a bunch of our customers are craft beer drinkers because of us, because there wasn't many. I mean, that was one of the reasons that we started all this, was because there weren't a lot of options out there. So we came up with this.
Cool.
Right on. So you talked about shopping. I think your team is out shopping right now. Are they coming back for you?
Yeah, we're probably outside already. I don't know. They'll probably. Because it was a rough night, especially for them. I sort of like pulled back a little, but so they're probably just resting out in the
drinking
car.
Some Gatorade.
Oh, they can come in if they want. Well, I think we held you here long enough. We had a little technical issue. We'll have to work through that. But it was a pleasure talking to you, and I put the date in my calendar.
Okay.
And we'll try to make that happen. I'll come down there. Maybe even before. Who knows?
Yeah, let's plan on having you guys over, and we'll start like we'll start like sending invites to people that want to come. We'll normally, we were talking about getting beer through borders and all of that. We would take care of that. So it makes it easier, and festivals there are fun. They go there for a long time. As I mentioned, we're sessional people, so we really look forward to having a blast there for everybody, for all the attendees that go there, and we would love to have you guys and some
cool
Arizona beers for people to try there and make visiting breweries here a part of a part of vacationing, or a part of doing business here in Arizona.
Great.
Cool.
Again, appreciate your time.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Hey, did you know this is not a beer podcast? It's a podcast about beer.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You don't know what that means.
No, but I
Heard it.
I heard that you mentioned this on all of your podcasts, which I've heard most of them.
Awesome. All right.
Cool. Thanks, Luis.
Okay. Thank you.